as they come off the corner. Mark Martin will win it.
You know, we played it smart, conserved our tires, and let it rip when it was time to go.
Ruttman trying to get the nose alongside. They touch. Around goes Spread.
We've had a winning truck right along, and Jack has reminded me that 2 or 3 times. And he had a big long talk with me last night. So maybe, Jack, this is your win.
And guess what? Elvis didn't show up, but Greg Biffle sure did. Victory number 1. Kansas is known for the Wizard of Oz. Toto, there is a tornado today. And the tornado's name has been Mike Bliss.
Only his 14th start. Rookie Kurt Busch wins in Milwaukee.
Roush Racing now takes the lead with 29 career wins. Do you think he's happy, guys?
Carl Edwards makes his final turn.
Well, let's do a hell of a burnout, then we're going to do a backflip.
Been a long time since Ricky Craven has visited Victory Lane.
This is what I wanted to do. I was looking to have some fun again, and today I had some fun.
10.5-second win for Eric Darnell.
Travis Kvapil has 4 truck lengths over Kyle Busch.
Awesome race truck. Thank you, Jack Roush. Thank you.
Welcome back. The Milwaukee Mile. The trucks are rolling for the Copart 200 presented on Speed by Toyota. A gorgeous afternoon for racing. We weren't supposed to be racing under the sunlight. We were supposed to be racing under the lights last evening, but because of the rains, obviously this one has been rescheduled for the afternoon. Now that's obviously going to be a big story in this one today, racing under the sunlight.
It really is. I talked to a lot of the guys in the garage here, and they said the difference is they really relied on more grip that nighttime was going to bring. They're not going to have that, so they really felt like these trucks are going to be really loose up off the corner. Forward bite's going to be a big issue. They will have to make some adjustments, certainly on that first pit stop.
Yeah, you know, to have success here, Phil, you have to be a little bit loose. The turns are so flat, you want to be able to drive your truck with the gas pedal. You want to kick that back around with the gas pedal. So they set these trucks up like that anyway, thinking they were going to race in cool, overcast, dark conditions. But now, a whole new world. The track is hot. The trucks are going to slide around. A bunch of concerned pit crew guys down there and a bunch of concerned drivers as they come to the green flag.
Just a reminder, there was no qualifying yesterday because of the inclement weather, and so the starting grid was set by owner points, and that is rolling across the bottom of the screen now. We want to take a look at our ZMAX track description for the Milwaukee Mile.
As you can see, 1 mile, but flat corners, only 9 degrees. Martinsville has 12-degree corners, and we think that's as flat as you can be, but very, very long corners and short straightaways.
Check out the 2 different surfaces here. See the darker pavement down on the bottom? The guys will really rely on that newer, fresher pavement to get these trucks around these flat turns. So they do have some options. They can move up if their truck's pushing and get out of that fresher pavement. That might help it turn. They're really going to have to play that game, though, and try to figure out where they want their truck to be in these corners in order to get around them faster than the rest.
Let's take a look at our Royal Purple Synthetic Oil race analysis. 33 trucks starting the race, 200 laps, 200 miles, purse over $500,000 in the pit window is somewhere between 80 and 90 laps, but I have to believe that these guys are going to want some adjustments quick.
Before the green flag flies, let's head back to pit road and get our thoughts before green.
Well, Rick, to win a lot of races, you've got to lead a lot of laps. So let's take a look at the laps led here at Milwaukee. Of course, Jack Sprague and Johnny Benson aren't in today's event, so that puts Mike Skinner at the top of the list with 251 laps led. But when you look down lower on that list, how about Matt Crafton, only 1 lap led? Todd Bodine? Well, I think you're going to see Mike Skinner up in front a lot today, and you're going to see a brand new sponsorship on his truck. That's Doc Bailey's Leather Products. We'll watch for Skinner at the front of the field. Adam?
And Ray, 2 members of our speed crew turned birthdays this week. I won't tell you who they are or what number they turned, but I can tell you Ron Hornaday is celebrating his 51st birthday this afternoon, and he will be a busy guy, not only running the Truck Series race this afternoon, he will compete in the Nationwide Series later on tonight. And he's one of only 2 drivers here at the Milwaukee Mile to record wins in both series. You see Hornaday going to victory in 97 and 04 in the truck and Nationwide Series respectively. Greg Biffle has also done that. Hornaday trying to do the unthinkable today, sweep both races in less than 12 hours.
Race fans, vote for your favorite Copart driver in the Copart Challenge of Champions. Choose between the 33 of Hornaday or the number 30 of Bodine to win a variety of prizes, including an all-expenses-paid VIP race experience in Talladega this October. Go to Copart.com for official rules and to register. Vote now for the Copart Challenge of Champions.
Do you think those guys aren't going to try to beat each other?
A couple champions, they always go door to door.
Now we've given them a little extra incentive as if they needed it.
Fans are going to enjoy this one. Always a great show. This is our 15th race at the Milwaukee Mile. One of the stats that really jump out at us is that no one has ever won this race starting further back than 8. So a top 8 starting position normally means something good.
Historically speaking, it does, certainly.
But we've also always had qualifying. So this is the first time they've been set by owner points. The pace truck makes his way onto pit road. The green flag goes in the air. We're underway in Milwaukee. Brian Eichler leading the field into turn number 1. Again, that's based on owner points. Matt Crafton, our driver's points leader, on the outside, battling down the backstretch.
Matt Crafton would like to change that stat of only having led 1 lap here at this racetrack. Just to get that out of the way quick.
Oh, Eichler gets sideways, runs Crafton up the hill, and here comes Hornaday.
Ron Hornaday making it too wide on the inside of Matt Crafton, looking to make the pass on Eichler, but Eichler's going to lead the first lap, the first mile here in Milwaukee. Problems with the 0-2.
No caution
Dylan
yet.
Oliver, he gets turned around, but he keeps going. So Dylan Oliver straightened it back out. We stay green.
You know, Ron Hornaday had an advantage of the fact that he had a couple Nationwide Series practices doing double duty today. So he's been on the racetrack quite a bit today.
We have 7 drivers that are also going to be running the Nationwide race later today. Dennis Setzer, Eric Almirola, Terry Cook, Peyton Sellers, Mike Harmon, and Jason Leffler filling in for Gabby DiCarlo today in the 90.
Battle for third right there. That's Brian Eichler, the 51 Miccosukee Toyota, and Mike Skinner right behind him. And there's Todd Bodine, that Copart Toyota.
You saw Eichler. Oh, there's a battle for the lead. Hornaday to the inside of Crafton. He makes that pass. Darn, he drove that thing deep in the corner, didn't he?
And it stuck.
Look it on the back. Vote for me at Copart.com. That's Hornaday. Those two will battle for the next 6 races. 1 and 2, Ron Hornaday and Matt Crafton. Crafton was able to be out front for a lap. We saw Brian Eichler lead the first lap, and now it's Ron Hornaday in front of the field.
You see his finishes the last 3 races. 11th, his worst finish this entire season. What an incredibly consistent year Matt Crafton has had.
These are your top 2 in points, just switched positions. Matt Crafton leading the points by 39 over the 33 of Ron Hornaday. Adam Alexander, what's happening with Hornaday?
Well, you know, Rick, in this very truck, he won both races last year at New Hampshire and Gateway, and they were really struggling when they unloaded in that first practice session here yesterday afternoon. So you know what they did? They went back to the setup, put it like it was a year ago when they won those 2 events with this particular truck. It appears to have paid off. He's out front, leading Crafton, the man he's chasing in the point standings.
See Todd Bodine trying to get by Brian Eichler in that Copart 30 Toyota.
Eichler's been struggling, Rick, ever since they threw the green flag. We saw him get loose down on the inside of Matt Crafton and run that up the hill. He keeps getting that truck a little bit sideways down in the center of the corner. Obviously, he's hurting a little bit from the different conditions. He practiced that truck in and set it up to race with it being much cooler, obviously, and he's not able to, hadn't been able to get it under him yet.
Nice move by Rick Crawford to get underneath that 17 of Timothy Peters.
Rick Crawford, another driver, has had success here but hasn't visited victory lane. He's been 3rd twice at this racetrack.
There's Brian Scott. Haven't talked a whole lot about Brian. For those folks that tuned in yesterday for the setup show, we talked about the fact that he broke his wrist at Michigan last weekend, so he is driving injured right now, has a broken right wrist, and his right wrist is in a cast.
Right hand is his dominant hand. And I was going to ask you guys, when you're driving, obviously you're sawing on that wheel. Is there a lot of pressure on that right hand?
Yeah, but I think maybe it's more important to have a good left hand because you're steadying the wheel. You're doing actually more work with the left hand. Obviously, though, he's hampered here. Check him out.
There's a shot of his on board.
You can see that hand just laying basically on the wheel, and he's doing a lot of work with his left hand.
Ray Dunlap.
And guys, you might not be able to see it from that shot, but look where his shifter is. It's about 30 inches long. They made a special shifter so that Brian didn't have to use a lot of leverage with his hand there. They've also made some modifications to the steering wheel to try to make him more comfortable in the cockpit.
You know, Brian doesn't have a great deal of strength because of that cast in that right hand. And I think as long as he's turning to the left, Michael, he's okay. But if that truck was to get sideways and he would have to turn back to the right to save it, I think that could be a problem.
Watch yourself super tight in the middle.
Right now, Brian Scott running in the 9th spot on the racetrack. Again, out in front of the field, it's Ron Hornaday, then Matt Crafton, Mike Skinner, Todd Bodine, David Starr, your top 5.
Running 9th with a hand and a half, that ain't bad.
So Ron Hornaday has put almost 2 seconds now between himself and Matt Crafton early in this one as we go on to the 10th lap. Today on Speed, the Rolex Sports Car Series slams into the Buckeye State. As the season reaches the halfway mark, the competition for the DP and GT championships is sure to produce epic battles on the track. Don't miss the Rolex Sports Car Series live from Mid-Ohio today at 5 Eastern. Only on Speed. Racing continuing from the Milwaukee Mile. Ron Hornaday way out in front now. Almost 3.5 seconds.
He's driven away from the field, and you know, Phil, we talked about he set that truck to set it up to race at night. I wonder if he's thinking, darn, I missed the setup a little bit, and I'm driving away from him in daylight.
You know, and these guys practice during the day. Even though they were thinking about racing at night, they did all their practicing in similar conditions to this as far as the temperatures. So obviously it's not hampering him.
Mike Skinner was able to get by the 88 of Matt Crafton for the 2nd spot. So now Skinner is chasing down today.
Well, just coming off the corner here, Mike's going to turn over to the inside here.
He set that pass up by a run off that 2nd corner. He was able to go up higher than Crafton and get a good run off the turn that enabled him to run by him at the end of the straightaway.
And you know, that is a little bit older pavement up there. This racetrack was paved back in 1996. And the reason that patch is down there is because it tore up so bad that first weekend, and that was a truck nationwide weekend just like this we're here, and they had to repave that lower section. And for a lot of years, that lower section, the new pavement had a lot more grip than the rest of the racetrack. Now it looks like it's evened out.
Mike Skinner again up into 2nd. Right.
Well, guys, Eric Phillips, his crew chief, is telling Skinner to have some patience. Don't worry about catching Hornaday because you're running faster laps. Skinner has been turning laps around 31 flat, and Hornaday just ran a 31.40 that time. So they're telling him, be patient. You're going to catch that leader soon. Adam?
And the man who started on the pole today, Brian Eichler, making only his 6th career start in the Truck Series. And he felt like he would really be pretty good here at Milwaukee because this is the kind of track where he raced in the Camping World East Series, where he's grown up cutting his teeth. Unfortunately, a very loose race truck in the early going has dropped him to 10th, and he's not having an opportunity to show off his talents.
I was wondering if Brian Eichler was even going to be able to drive this truck because we know that Kyle Busch will be back here for the nationwide race later. I thought maybe Kyle would come back a little earlier.
Well, Kyle had to run the practice out at Infineon Raceway this morning for the Cup race, so that's probably why he's not going to be here. He probably will get here just in the nick of time, actually, for the nationwide race tonight. But a pretty rare doubleheader here for the nationwide series and the Camping World Truck Series.
You can see Eichler there. He's hanging on to that 10th spot just ahead of Terry Cook. But man, I've been watching. That truck has been a handful. He can't seem to get the gas down. He slides up in the turn when he tries to do that.
David Starr running 5th. Crawford has moved up to the 6th spot. Timothy Peters is 7th. Brian Scott 8th, and Eric Almirola is 9th. And again, Brian Eichler in the 10th spot. Hornaday now 3.5 seconds in front of Mike Skinner. But does Skinner have anything for Hornaday after he got by the 88 of Matt Crafton? Skinner moving forward. See if he can catch Hornaday. Sunday on Speed, don't miss NASCAR Race Day. Fresh off his 3rd win of the year, Mark Martin joins us live. And it's Father's Day weekend. We celebrate with an exclusive look at the special bond between Jack Roush and his daughter. Don't miss NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, live Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR on Speed.
Can't tell you how many Father's Days I spent at the racetrack, and a lot of them with my dad. Obviously moved down south when I got out of college, and my dad stayed in Michigan, but he came to a lot of the races.
Well, NASCAR is such a great family sport, and this weekend, Father's Day weekend, with the bond that the driver and his dad have growing up. You know, I remember when I was a kid, my dad tuning on my go-kart for me when I was 8 or 10 years old, and that just never goes away, Phil. It's part of your life forever, and you never forget those days, and to get a win on Father's Day weekend is extra special.
couple fathers running 1 and 2 right now. Ron Hornaday Jr., actually grandfather. And Mike Skinner running second. Skinner has closed the gap by 1/10 of a second. Not a lot, but about 1/10 of a second.
He's chipping away at it.
He's got a long way to go, though. Again, we've got 200 laps here, 200 miles.
Good battle for third right here. Matt Crafton's got it. Todd Bodine, the other Copart challenger, wants to get it.
Check out those differing lines these guys are taking. We talked about how important it is to get your truck to work down on the bottom of the racetrack. That's where Hornaday's running and driving away from them. But Todd's found him a groove up high.
All 4 wheels up above that darker patch in the racetrack, and then ducks back down, gets the left sides back on it.
And it looks to be getting a little bit darker, like there's some rubber going on the racetrack up higher to give them another groove.
I like that. I like when these guys can mess around, try some different lines. You can see right in the center of the corner, Todd's able to gain on Matt Crafton, but then Matt pulls away on exit.
I was talking to some of the guys in the garage area, asking them about the fact that, you know, that all the rubber had been washed off the racetrack. Naturally, we had a couple of nationwide practices to put it back down. And they said, I didn't think it would make much difference because it didn't really look like the track really had rubbered up yesterday when the final truck practice was over.
Again, Matt Crafton running in the 3rd spot after starting on the outside of row number 1. Ryan Eichler started on the pole because of owner points.
There's your 7th place truck, Rick. Timothy Peters.
He just dropped back 1 spot from his starting position. He started 6th today, now running 7th.
And remember, this is the truck basically that Johnny Benson started the season, and they changed the number when the funding dried up for Johnny. Timothy Peters brought strutmasters.com over, and they changed the number to 17. They continued to use the owner points for the 1. But let's give a shout out to Johnny.
Oh, yeah.
He's the guy that won this race the last 3 years, and unfortunately Johnny had a serious accident last week at Berlin Raceway in Grand Rapids in a super modified, and is on the mend. But we understand that Johnny is home and going to be just fine. So we want to say, Johnny, we miss you here, man.
And he said we can call him anytime during broadcast if we want to talk to him, which I thought was very polite of him. We take a look back a spot in the 15, Eric Almirola, right?
Hey, what a big move the number 15 truck has made, guys. He started 18th all the way up to 8th right now, and he's just a little bit loose coming off the corner. But I think one of the craziest stories that I've ever seen in racing happened right here at Milwaukee with Eric Almirola. You guys remember back in 2007, he was in that race car and actually got credited with the win in the Nationwide Series here, but he got out of the car at lap 58 because Denny Hamlin had come here from Sonoma to run that race, and they put him in, but Almirola got credited with the win. That was really amazing, even though he only drove 58 laps. But I think this kid has a real good feel for what it takes to be fast here at Milwaukee. Adam?
And of course, Eric Almirola, one of the drivers who has picked up more positions in this field than anyone else. The driver you see on track now has not. Colin Brown +2 on the day. The reason, very tight in the center, and now the truck becoming loose off the corner. Now, we talk about drivers that are doing double duty today. Colin Brown won't get credit for running both the truck and nationwide races, but he did practice Carl Edwards' nationwide car earlier today. He will qualify it later this afternoon. Guys, how much of a benefit for a youngster like Colin to get that much extra track time?
I think it's big.
I think it's huge, and that obviously Ron Hornaday is as much experience as he has had and won here in both divisions. He had a lot of track time this morning, and he's right now the guy fastest car and truck on the racetrack.
You know, it's just a good warm-up. He got a chance to get out there a little bit this morning and understand what the track did after the heavy rains from yesterday, and I think it's helped him early in this race.
You talked about the different lines. Todd Bodine running a little bit higher on the racetrack. Well, he was able to get by the 88 of Matt Crafton, took 3rd away from Matt. So now Todd Bodine is on the move.
Good run for the 24 truck of David Starr, too. Let's take a look back at how Todd got that 3rd spot away from Matt Crafton. See, he was working the outside. He gets up beside him. Matt has to give him room, and then Todd has the drag race down the straightaway.
That's just a lot of fun for a race car driver. But when you're at a flat track like Milwaukee and your truck's good enough to drive around the outside of a guy, that makes you feel real encouraged about what you're doing.
You hear how smooth Todd was on the throttle. Just got that nose up beside of Matt. Matt had to give him room. And then Todd had position on him getting down in turn number 1.
This is such a flat racetrack, and I would think so difficult to run that higher line at a racetrack that's only got 9 degrees of banking.
It's all where the grip is, Rick. It doesn't matter how much banking it has, how flat it is. It's where the grip is.
But you're right. You know, mentally, you see that fresher pavement. As a race car driver, you're like, that's got to stick better. I'm going down on that. But then Todd made it work out in the older stuff. That's experience. He just felt his truck knew that he could move it around a little bit, and got a run on Matt Crafton and took over that 3rd spot. Now he's running lap times that are comparable to Hornaday. Oh, we got a caution.
Caution on the racetrack for the first time today. The 11 of TJ Bell. So he's got a little bit of damage to his race truck. Slow on the racetrack.
I don't see much damage, but he's definitely off the pace.
May have a flat tire.
Talked to TJ this morning. He was really optimistic about his truck.
See if we can see what happened.
Oh, it blew up.
Blew up is what happened.
Or is that a? What? Yeah,
that's pieces of maybe like the oil pan or something like that.
Well, while we see TJ Bell rolling probably into the garage, another truck that was already into the garage. This was supposed to be driven by Gabby DiCarlo, but she was not feeling well today, so Jason Leffler got into that truck, and he has already pulled behind the wall and into the garage. So Jason Leffler out of this one. He'll have another run a little bit later in the nationwide race. We'll be back with more racing. Welcome back. Copart 200 presented on speed by Toyota. Slowed for the first caution. It was something expiring on the 11th of TJ Bell, and pit road is now open, and so we'll see who dives onto pit road. Ray Dunlap.
Everybody will be coming here, Rick. This far into the run, they want to make some adjustments. Mike Skinner's truck was just a little bit free. They were going to adjust with air pressure. They decided to go down 1 round on the right side track bar. That'll help tighten up this Doc Bailey's Tundra. Adam?
They never talked about making adjustments to Ron Hornaday's truck. He has been very pleased. The only debate, should we take tires or save them for later at the last minute? Rick Wren said, is the 5-app tires on the wall? When he got the answer yes, he said, let's put on 4. For Todd Bodine, they're going to put on 4 tires as well. Make an air pressure adjustment to help his truck, which is tight at this stage of the race. We'll see who wins the battle off of pit road. It looks like it's going to be the 60 of Stacy Compton. Perhaps some strategy playing out there.
Yeah, Adam, gas only for Stacy Compton. I watched that pit stop and came in no tires for that 60 Toyota.
Skinner making the way off pit road 2nd, Todd Bodine 3rd.
This is fun. I love the strategy some of these teams are trying to figure out what to do to get their trucks up front. We know how important track position is. You'll see different varying strategies when it comes to pit road.
I think all these guys have to come back on pit road now for fuel, and obviously Stacy Compton will stay out, but there's our Aaron's lucky dog, Dexter Bean, the live wire energy.
No strategy there.
No strategy there. Got a lucky dog.
Aaron's just put him back on the lead
lap. Just gave it away.
Just like nothing. Just here. Take it.
Ryan Sieg in the 39 apparently penalized for too many men over the wall. Let's go back to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Well, Skinner will be back here to get gas right now. I talked with Eric Phillips before this race started, and he said they'd like to have a set of tires left over at the end of this race with 15 or 20 laps to go. They would pit. They believe tires will be that important. Right now, getting fuel back in. Skinner was 2nd off of pit road after our first round. We'll keep our eye on the 5 truck here. Now let's go back to Adam.
Stacy Compton in top of your screen, as Phil documented, took fuel only on that first stop. This time he will get tires. Bottom of your screen, they fuel the Tundra Toyota of Todd Bodine. They will also make a track bar adjustment. We mentioned that he was tight, and it looks like Bodine may be the first one off of pit road.
I don't understand the strategy of Stacy Compton.
Well, also on pit road, Eric Almirola in the 15 looked like he stalled on pit road, and so all of a sudden we had a parking lot on pit road as everybody was trying to get off. How about this, Stacy Compton? Oh.
07 of Chad McCumbee is the only truck on the lead lap that only made 1 pit stop on this round of pit stops.
We'll be right back for the green flag. Welcome back. Trucks just moving into turn number 3 as we've just got back under green flag racing conditions. Out in front, Todd Bodine leading Mike Skinner, Matt Crafton, Rick Crawford, and Ron Hornaday has dropped back to the 5th spot after the first round of pit stops.
He's actually back up to the 3rd spot. He already got by Rick Crawford and then just did make the pass on the 88 of Matt Crafton.
Just drove right around the outside of both of those trucks. He was dominant in the early going. It looks like he's planning on showing him that he's still going to be dominant.
You know, you see the damage on that 15 truck right there of Eric Almirola. Rick, you mentioned that there was a bit of a traffic jam on pit road a few moments ago during those pit stops.
Looked like he was trying to get in his box and maybe didn't see where it was, and he came to a complete stop, and guys had to go everywhere on pit road. Look at Hornaday.
Hornaday looking to the inside of Skinner now for second.
Skinner gives him room. Ron Hornaday going to try to make that move. I tell you, there's a lot of grip up high, though.
He got away from him on the high side.
Adam Alexander.
And you guys should know that Ron Hornaday dropped from first to fifth on that cycle of pit stops. The reason is they had an issue when they changed tires the first time around. They had a little team huddle, discussed the situation, and looks like the guy in the driver's seat motivated on the restart.
You know, just when I figured, think I had the pit road rules figured out. I mean, I saw Stacy Compton and the 07 of Chad McCumbee come in and only get fuel in the first go around. I said, well, that's good strategy. They don't feel like they need tires. Well, then Stacy comes in the second time and changes tires, which takes a lot longer than dumping one can of fuel in, and he loses a tremendous amount of track position. So I said, well, okay, Chad McCumbiee's going to be the only one that does that. And he pits the third time around and loses all the track position.
What about Hornaday? He tried to go underneath Skinner, couldn't make that stick, so he drove right around the top side.
And now the two Copart trucks are running nose to tail.
And I think Todd watched that in his mirror. He saw Hornaday was strong on the outside. He said, I'm going to move up there and take that line away from you, bud.
If you want to pass me, you might have to do it on the inside.
Running 1 and 2 now at the Milwaukee Mile. Todd Bodine just in front of Ron Hornaday. And again, vote for your favorite Copart driver in the Copart Challenge of Champions. You can choose between the 33 of Ron Hornaday and the number 30 of Todd Bodine. You can win a variety of prizes, including that all-expenses-paid VIP race experience in Talladega in October. Go to Copart.com for the official rules and to register. They're running 1 and 2 on the racetrack, side by side down the backstretch.
Todd said, you're not finished with that pass yet, young man.
But Hornaday really drives it down in the corner. He can move up the racetrack and block off Todd if he wants to. Didn't have to do it. Cleared him through the corner.
Matt Crafton running in the 4th spot. Just behind the two racing for second now, Mike Skinner and Todd Bodine.
Todd did lay over and give that position up. It looked like he saw that his goose was cooked somewhat for running in the front, so he's just going to maybe try to settle in here and log some laps.
Well, Skinner's not driving a Copart-sponsored truck, so he didn't have to race him. Didn't have to race him as hard.
But how about Ron Hornaday restarting 5th after the bad pit stop and making his way all the way up to 1st in a matter of about 4 or 5 laps?
That certainly motivates the crew to see the driver go out there and say, you guys gave something up in the pits. I'm going to get it back for you quick. Bet you it happens. Bet you it doesn't happen again today.
Adam Alexander, what are they talking about with Matt Crafton?
I tell you what, there's not a lot being said, and you just don't seem to think about Matt Crafton week in and week out. But you know what? He's always there, knocking on the door. He's running 4th today. They were a little tight in that early run. Made an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires and fuel in that cycle of pit stops, and the point leader doing exactly what he needs to do again today, Ray.
And Adam, with these new pit road rules, a lot of crew chiefs try to do some strategy calls, and that was the case for Doug Wolcott, the crew chief for Taylor Malsom. They were going to go with 2 tires to try to get track position, but they were making a track bar adjustment, and the wrench broke in the truck. So they got penalized, had to come back down pit road, so therefore you go ahead and you change the other set of tires. So now Malsom has 4 tires, but he had to restart all the way back in 21st.
TV.com on board that 07 of Chad McCumbee. That we talked about his problems on pit road. Or, well, maybe not problems, but just different strategy.
Yeah, exactly. He came in, put tires on the first go-around, and then stayed out the second go-around when everybody else came in to put fuel in. And then he came in the 3rd time around and lost all the track position. Right now he's being shown in the 23rd position.
The 07 of Chad McCumbee actually spun on the racetrack.
Lost a couple of laps too, Phil.
Yeah.
It's kind of gone from bad to worse for Chad. Gets around Taylor Malta. He's got a fast truck.
And that truck has been very, very good this year. Chad and those guys have done a great job. Bobby Dodder and SNS Greenlight Racing.
He currently, right now, would get the lucky dog from Aaron's if the caution were to fly, but he is 2 down.
Oh, problems right in front of him. Jason White into the wall in that 23.
Tough break for Jason White in that gunbroker.com Dodge. Jason is really coming to his own here in this last little bit. He's got 5 finishes of 14th or better in the last 5 races.
Yeah, that's a new truck for that team. I was talking to Jason yesterday down on pit road, and he was very optimistic about it and was running well.
He was 16th just when this incident happened. So Jason White slides and backs into the wall in turn 1-2. Let's take a look at what happened.
Oh, slid up the hill a little bit, and to avoid running into Terry Cook, he cut his truck harder to the left, Phil, and when they made contact, it just spun him out.
Yeah, he's in here a little bit hot. You can see he was all the way above that newer pavement. Pretty significant contact with a safer barrier. See, right front tires down as well.
A lot of damage to the back of that race truck. So his crew will have to go to work and try to get him back out on the track. Here's another look at why we're under our second caution of the race.
That's a helpless feeling when you get in there like that. You know what's coming up, Rick.
We'll be back with more green flag racing from Milwaukee after this.
It's Camping World's Destination Recreation.
You know, Camping World offers a wide selection of super quiet and fuel-efficient Honda power generators for all of your portable power needs. Now, they range from 1,000 watt all the way up to the Mac Daddy here, which is 6,500 watts, and this thing will go just about anywhere. Now, a lot of people have different needs for their portable power, so they make the little 1,000 watt. You might want to have that as a spare in your garage. It's only 45 pounds. But here's an idea for you. How about you get a 2,000 watt for your RV and have another 2,000 watt at home? If you ever need extra power, they sell you a parallel kit, which means you can plug this unit into this and get 4,000 watts of power. Now remember, Honda is the official generator of Camping World, and they're super, super quiet.
Still under caution from the Milwaukee Mile. Again, the State Fair Park in West Allis, Wisconsin. It's State Fair weather here today. Aaron's lucky dog, Chad McCumbee, gets a lap back. Welcome back. Copart 200 presented on Speed by Toyota. The Milwaukee Mile, the sign of this race 10 of the 2009 season. Green flag goes back in the air.
Only a handful of trucks use this opportunity to come down pit road on that caution flag, but a lot of guys made significant adjustments. Matt Crafton appears to have helped that truck, Michael.
I think quite significantly. He seems to be able to. You know, we saw him get passed by Todd Bodine. Now he's all over Todd Bodine. It was that way before the caution came out as well. Now he's going to get a challenge from Crawford down on the inside, but Crafton closes the door. Look at Timothy Peters right down on that yellow line.
Crawford slid back up the racetrack.
Another guy that's come a long way is that 6 of Colin Brown. In the long run, previous to our first caution of the day, he had one of the faster trucks running back in the 10th or 11th spot, but he had one of the fastest trucks on lap time.
Yeah, Mike Beam and the guys picked up 2 or 3 spots on pit road during his round of pit stop, so right now he's running in the 7th spot.
24 if you need it.
And Brian Scott running 8th.
Still there, door.
Broken right wrist. He has a
Rear quarter,
cast
still
on
there.
his right wrist, holding on to that 8th spot.
Still there. Clear behind him. 15 to your tail.
We go back up to the front of the
Good job,
field,
buddy.
and
You're doing all right.
Adam, why don't you take us through the field?
How about we do that? And as you said, we will start with a guy who has the field in tow. We're talking about Ron Hornaday, and he is trying to pad a stat today that is very impressive. When he won at Lowe's Motor Speedway last month, it marked the 6th time he had gone to victory lane after qualifying was rained out. No qualifying here yesterday. Ron Hornaday leads in that category and going for lucky number 7 this afternoon, Ray.
Running in second, Adam, is Mike Skinner, and you remember he won the very first race here at Milwaukee back in '95. I asked Skinner where he ranks this racetrack on his list of favorites. He said it'd be 3rd or 4th. He said he really likes this track because the driver can make different lines on the track to make the truck work a lot better. Adam?
Todd Bodine running right behind him in the 3rd position. He was loose in the early run, so when they came down for pit stops at lap 40 and 41, they changed 4 tires, made an air pressure adjustment, and also made a move on the track bar, trying to help tighten up the number 30. And under caution, his crew chief, Mike Hillman Jr., said, take care of your tires. We've only got 1 set left, and we got to save these, Ray.
You know, Adam, sometimes you just got to look at the statistics to figure out who's going to be good at a racetrack. And when you look at Rick Crawford, you know that Milwaukee is on the top of his list. How about this? 6 consecutive top 10s for the 14 truck right here on this flat 1 mile racetrack. Adam?
And Matt Crafton, the point leader, has been very impressive here as well, Ray. 5 times he's finished in the top 10 and only 8 starts at this track. His best ever coming a year ago when he finished in the runner-up position. He was tight in the early run. They made an adjustment on their pit stop. I think the 88 starting to come to it, Ray.
Timothy Peters running in the 6th position there in that number 17 Strutmasters race truck. And you know what? We go to Milwaukee, or we come from Milwaukee, then we go to Memphis next. And then after that, Timothy Peters has to go to a wedding because his crew chief, Chad Kendrick, is getting married whenever we have the week off. Adam?
Running in the 7th position, our most recent winner in the series, Colin Brown. And it is amazing what a little bit of confidence will do. He started 13th today, drifted back to the 16th position because his truck was tight. Mike Deem on the radio said, stay calm, be patient. He has done that. An air pressure adjustment under caution when he came in at lap 41 has made the truck better, and that youngster has rallied up to the 7th position. Ray?
David Starr in the 8th position in truck number 24. They came in on that last round of pit stops trying to free his truck up. He was very, very tight in the center of the corners. They made an air pressure adjustment and a track bar adjustment, and David said it hasn't done anything. He says the truck feels just the same. He needs more help to roll through the center of the corner. Now right behind him, Eric Almirola in that number 15. And guys, you documented that jam up at the end of pit road. The 15 truck got a little bit of damage on the truck whenever that happened, and he says it has definitely affected the feel of this Zaxby's race truck going through the center. You see the damage there on the left rear. Behind him, Brian Scott. We talked about all the modifications they had to make for him with that broken wrist. Brian says the wrist is very, very sore, but he's doing okay because guess what? He likes being racing. Adam?
Johnny Sauter running 11th after starting back in the 15th position earlier today, and you would expect him to run good here. When you look at his numbers at this track over the years in NASCAR competition, he has been amazing, including a win here in the Nationwide Series back in 2005. They are still working to get the truck where driver 13 would like it. Right behind him, Stacy Compton. Interesting pit move when they came down at laps 40 and 41, put him behind the 8 ball a little bit as far as track position is concerned, but he has rallied that 60 truck up to 12th. He was very good in that first practice here yesterday, which oddly enough happened in sunny conditions. Ray?
Dennis Setzer running in 13th position. He won a race here back in 2005, but he said his truck is very, very tight in the center. They're going to have to do a lot of adjusting to see if Setzer can get that Malcolmson construction truck to roll the way he wants to. Adam?
And Brian Eichler hanging on for his life. A very loose truck on that first run of the day. They made significant changes to the 51 when they made their first pit stop. Unfortunately, he continues to drift back. He's coming off his career best run a week ago. He started on the pole and finished 3rd at Michigan. Ray?
Ryan Sieg in the number 39 truck. This is actually a chassis that they bought from Kevin Harvick Racing. Truck number 25, and that truck was brand new right here at Milwaukee a year ago. It only has 4 races on it right now. Ryan Sieg having some fun out there in the 39, guys.
And running in the 16th position is James Busher, a youngster who's making his first start in the truck series at this facility. But he has been here in other series where he has competed quite well. And one thing to watch on him, they didn't have a lot of track position. They came down at lap 55 and topped off with fuel. So should this thing stay green, they could be in a good position, Ray.
Terry Cook not happy with his race truck right now, all the way back in 17th, but they had to come in and put a couple of spring rubbers in the right rear of that Cajun Industries truck. Terry Cook was a lot like David Starr. When they made those last adjustments, he said he really couldn't feel much difference from the cockpit.
Meanwhile, Ron Hornaday continues to lead with over a 1-second lead over the 2nd place truck of Mike Skinner.
Taylor Molson running in the 81 truck, the 180 Toyota Tundra. He's running in 18th spot.
Coming off his career best finish of 6th last week at Michigan.
You can see behind Molson, Ricky Carmichael and Mikey Kyle. Excuse me, that's Chad McCumbee underneath Carmichael, but Carmichael's in the 19th spot. So good picture of where the top 20, some of the top 20 guys are running and some of the issues they're battling. Ricky can't keep his truck down in the corners. He's been drifting up. And we see Ty Bodine, some guys making ground up there, but Ricky's not able to get anything going up there.
You mentioned Mikey Kyle. He runs 20th, and Dexter Bean rounds out the trucks that are on the lead lap in 21st. And we have a couple trucks a lap down in White and McCumbee. Jason White again getting into the wall. Chad McCumbee having some issues. He spun on the track, got a lap down, and then got Aaron's lucky dog a lap back. There are 3 other trucks that are more than 1 lap down still on the racetrack. So 26 trucks still running. Hornaday out in front of the field. He has 1.2 seconds leading over Mike Skinner. Todd Bodine, Rick Crawford, and Matt Crafton. Again, Crafton coming into this race, your point leader. The difference, though, only 4 points separate Crafton and the 33 of Ron Hornaday in the point standings as they run on the racetrack. We'll be back with more green flag racing from the Milwaukee Mile after this. Coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. By Herculiner. Herculiner truck bed liners, where tough comes easy. And by the new Toasty Torpedo Quiznos. Toasty.
We do this to entertain ourselves, just so people at home don't think we're...
Those of you that didn't see us, by the way, which was everyone, we actually had to stand up for that, too.
Which was everyone.
Yeah, Michael wanted to stand up for that.
I felt I could harmonize better if we were standing like a trio.
Hornaday's harmonizing right now, isn't he?
I would say harmony is a good word for what Hornaday and Rick Wren have figured out with this race truck and this race track. 1.4 seconds the difference between Hornaday and Skinner as Hornaday leads Skinner. Todd Bodine back in third. Crawford is fourth. And Matt Crafton holding on to that fifth spot. Here's a battle for the 11th position. Johnny Sauter and Stacy Compton. Those two have been going around this track side by side about 3 laps already.
Yeah, Dennis Setzer's closed up on the back of that battle, looking to make it 3 wide for a moment. But remember, Stacy Compton is trying to overcome the poor track position he had because of his pit strategy. But moving up, knocking on the door of the top 10 anyway.
Look at him. He's trying to crowd up. He wants to be on that older pavement where Sauter is, so he's just kind of running him up the hill a little bit. It's going to complete the pass, but as a race car driver, you don't really like to get passed like that. You'd rather a guy take the bottom groove that you left him and not come up in your groove too, but Stacy was able to make it work and get away from Johnny before Johnny could run into him or something.
Dennis Setzer so smooth making the pass on Johnny Sauter. Setzer, one of the drivers that has won at this racetrack before.
It's
Dennis
flat.
Yeah, and he knows how to win on flat racetracks.
And it races like a short track. I mean, not that Dennis Setzer is only a short track competitor. He's won at Texas, Charlotte, Michigan, about everywhere you can win. But man, when you get to a short, flat track, Dennis Setzer's on the money.
So good. Dennis Setzer, 18 wins in this his career. His most recent came at Martinsville back in 2008.
Just outside the top 10, battling there with Stacy Compton.
Battle for the third position tightens up as Crawford.
Look at that line, Crawford. I mean, he's way up top. And we see Hornaday and Skinner running way down at the bottom. So, interesting.
Just searching for some grip. You see him back down in the bottom. Now he drifts up a little bit in the center. Still stays in the new patch, or relatively new. Again, the patch is only a few months newer than the old surface was.
It'll be some sort of different asphalt, though, because it's held
very
up.
well be.
They paved this racetrack back in 1954. Prior to that, it was a dirt track. So
only for 50 years.
It's been a paved racetrack for over 50 years now. Adam Alexander.
And you guys talk about Rick Crawford, who is running so well, and one of the reasons he's running good is the guy that was in front of him a moment ago, Matt Crafton, is not good at this stage of the race. He continues to complain about the truck being tight. They have tried to coach him on the line. He is running, but he said the brakes are actually vibrating when he goes into the corner. Left of your screen, Bud Hakeley, the crew chief, has his work cut out for him over the final 115 laps of this one.
And Colin Brown, most recent winner in the Camping World Truck Series, just behind Matt Crafton.
This cat's fast too, Phil. Made his way around David Starr just a couple of laps ago and drove right up on the back of our point leader, Matt Crafton.
You mentioned how good he's been. Charlotte, Lowe's Motor Speedway, leading the race, got taken out in an accident. Dover, he was leading the race, cut a tire down inside of 15 laps to go, and then had a great battle with Kyle Busch and was able to get that win at Michigan last week. Man, there's nothing like confidence, is there?
No, and like you said, a little extra track time today, driving one of his Roush teammates' nationwide car, and
Carl's car, right? The 60 car of Carl Edwards.
Adam Alexander.
Isn't it great when a plan comes together? You talk about Colin Brown, his success today just continues to go to the front. He said on that first run of the day, his truck not where he wanted it to be, tight. Mike Beam coached him through it. They made an air pressure adjustment. He said it would make it better, and it has. Now he's knocking on the door, trying to get around Matt Crafton for a position in the top 5.
Adam stole a quote from one of my favorite TV shows, The A-Team. Isn't it great when a plan comes together?
I like where you took us there, Rick.
Ron Hornaday out in front of the field. He's put himself almost 2 seconds now in front of Mike Skinner. He has been the dominant truck as he's led 77 laps today. Todd Bodine, he's led 7, but still running in the 3rd spot. This Thursday night, on an all-new wreck, Dwight is teaching a new O'Hare the rules of the road. But when mechanical problems threaten to send the jobs up in flames, the rookie gets a first-hand lesson on how dangerous the towing business really is. Wreck live in the crash lane Thursday night at 10 Eastern on Speed. Welcome back to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Copart 200, presented on Speed by Toyota.
Ron Hornaday's catching some of those lead lap trucks we talked about. So you see Ricky Carmichael and Mikey Kyle battling for the 19th spot, and Ron's there.
You might want to mention that Mikey Kyle is driving the truck owned by Brad Keselowski, who will be racing later on this evening in the Nationwide Series. Won just the other day in Dover, just a couple weeks ago.
Adam Alexander.
And Mikey Kyle, of course, made his debut in this truck at Martinsville, where they recorded a top 12 finish. Very impressive for this young race team. The plan for them to run 5 more races this year. He'll maintain his rookie status. They hope to go full-time in 2010. And, of course, they're also running an ARCA schedule together. So he's busy in 2009, all laying a foundation for a positive future. And you see Hornaday around both Kyle and Carmichael, 2 more in the lap down category now.
On the lead lap. Oh, I'm sorry.
And set him a heck of a pace here. He's put lapped all the way up right now to the 19th place truck. As we talked about with Ricky Carmichael, Terry Cook right now is running in the 18th position. He's going to be next on the hit list for Ron Hornaday.
Ricky Carmichael back in the seat for Kevin Harvick Incorporated. He started the season off. They talked about running around 16 races in the 2009 season. Then the successes started early for him, so they decided to put him in the seat a few more times at the beginning of the year.
You know, I think, Michael, when we talk about where Ricky Carmichael's racing, he had a great run at California, running some of the super speedways. I would think after running this racetrack, this would be a very, very tough challenge for him.
Definitely, because these trucks, you know, you can't be overly precise with a 30-some hundred-pound race truck. I mean, you got to wrestle them a little bit. You got to slide a little bit. And when you have banks, big banks you can lean on, it makes it a little bit easier to do that. And it's more forgiving. You come here, you know, everybody tells you how technical you need to be. You got to get down and get off the brake and roll. That's hard to figure out how to do when you hadn't done this your whole life.
Now we see Mike Skinner getting by Ricky Carmichael. Ray Dunlap, I think you got a question for our experts up here.
Well, I do, Rick, and you know, it's very perplexing down here to try to figure out what's going on in pit road week in and week out, and obviously every racetrack has its own conditions, but guys, almost everybody on my end of pit road raised their track bar to try to loosen the trucks up a little bit. Just about everybody made air pressure adjustments to try to loosen them up, and all I'm hearing on the radio is the trucks are tighter than they were before. What could that be from?
Well, I think a lot of guys, Ray, were setting these trucks up to race at night, and typically when you lose grip like you have during the day here, obviously with the warmer temperatures, whatever your truck is doing, it just exaggerates that. So I think more than likely a lot of these guys were maybe a little on the tight side, expecting to get more grip at night, and their trucks are tighter yet here, and that's why everybody is talking about raising the track bar and making air pressure adjustments to try to counteract that.
And Ray, if you're watching these guys, if you could see what the lines they're taking in the corner, you can tell not only are the crew chiefs trying to figure out how to adjust the truck to the conditions, the drivers are out there trying to figure out where to go to make the trucks turn better.
We've passed the halfway point from the Milwaukee Mile. Ron Hornaday still out in front of the field. Mike Skinner, his closest competitor, running second, 1.2 seconds behind him. And that's been about the gap for Hornaday and anybody who's challenged him today in second. We've just seen a very dominant truck out of Ron Hornaday again.
Well, it looks like he'll score it out to about a second lead or thereabouts, and then back off a little bit. So yeah. I'm not sure that Ron Hornaday is showing us right now all that he has, but he's keeping Mike Skinner at bay about a second to second half behind him almost all the time.
Yeah, I watched Skinner run 2 or 3 laps in a row a little faster than Ron. and Ron just picked it up a couple of tenths the next lap. So I think he has more truck than he's showing right now. But, you know, we talk about a dominant truck, and he has led about every lap. He's only, like you said, just a second ahead. Any slip, they make an adjustment on pit road, a minor adjustment to make his truck any worse at all, or Skinner's any better, then it's going to be a different ballgame. That isn't enough of an advantage to feel comfortable with, that's for sure.
So the top two have won at this racetrack. Both Hornaday and Skinner have visited victory lane. Can they do it again today? Well, they still have quite a few miles to go before we determine who will get the trophy from the Milwaukee Mile. History deep in this racetrack, and history could repeat itself if Hornaday holds on for the win.
Look for the official NASCAR hologram whenever you're shopping and earn free stuff every time you deposit your hologram code online at nascar.com/hologram.
Let's get you caught up on what has happened up to this point. Green flag flew. The grid was set by owner points because we didn't qualify yesterday.
Ron Hornaday wasted no time going for the lead, taking it from Matt Crafton, our point leader.
Look how aggressive he drives that truck down to the bottom of the race track. Just powers his way around Crafton. Look at that.
And then zings it in the corner.
Lap 37, TJ Bell.
This is
exploding under that truck.
Major engine failure.
Yeah, there's the starter.
That's a starter.
On the racetrack.
Part number P16309. You can get that at Napa if you need one.
Lap 49. More issues for Hornaday getting by in the Copart Challenge. Challenge of Champions taking place right here. The two Copart trucks side by side, and Hornaday squirts out to the front.
Ron's saying, vote for me, y'all.
Yeah, except right on this truck on the rear spoiler. Jason White gets into the side of Terry Cook, tries to stay off Terry, and unfortunately loses control.
What a helpless feeling that is. He's already off the gas. He just got in a little too deep, and he knew he was in trouble.
The race summary after 109 of the 200 scheduled laps. Hornaday is our race leader. We've had 5 different people out in front, 5 changes, only 2 cautions for 10 laps. 18 are still on the lead lap.
Let's take a look at our points as of now. Ron Hornaday right now, because of the leading, and right now Matt Crafton has dropped back to the 8th position. If the race were to end right now, Crafton would be behind Ron Hornaday by 9 points.
And that's got to be refreshing for that team. You know, he's had a couple of off weeks, and now he's on top of his game, leading the race, and now leading the points if the race were to end now. But it's not gonna.
But what a battle back last week for Ron Hornaday, involved in a couple incidents and battled back for a top 10 finish, finished 7th, and that's what a championship team is made of.
As we see a battle for 9th right now, I think we've got to talk about what's about to take place. We may have green flag pit stops again.
Yeah, we're not far from it. Probably 10 to 15 laps, I would guess, from some green flag pit stops.
That's our, you know, we talked about Hornaday recovering last week and getting a good finish when his truck wasn't right. Matt Crafton, our point leader coming in here, is falling back through the field. That's back to the 9th spot, now getting ready to get some pressure from Brian Scott in 10th. So the adjustments they made to that truck under that first pit stop, it looked like when they threw the green for 4 or 5 laps, he made that truck better, but now it's gone away.
Nice job, buddy.
Brian Scott with a pass on Matt Crafton.
Stacey Compton moves to the inside.
There you go, Bubba.
The 60 truck.
20 away from a green flag stop.
We just heard there, 20 away from green flag stop. Remember, in this series, you can't change tires and add fuel under the same stop. So would you expect people to do the same strategy they did in Texas, where they just came in for fuel?
I think they're only going to come in for fuel because these tires have not fallen off that much. I don't think there's any kind of a wear issue, and you would lose a tremendous amount of time to make a second pit stop.
But it's fun to see what these guys are going to do. They've got to make a choice. They're going to have gas, and we didn't hear anything about tire wear earlier, but we only ran 40 laps, so this is a much longer run. Are they saying they can go 160 laps on one set of tires? I don't know about that.
They might have to.
We just heard one crew chief come on the radio inside of 20 laps before we have green flag pit stops. Hornaday still in front. Welcome back. Copart 200 presented on Speed by Toyota continues. It's Ron Hornaday, followed closely by Mike Skinner and Todd Bodine. 3 series champions running 1, 2, 3 on the racetrack.
A lot of strong runs for young Taylor Mossram this year already, and unfortunately just went a lap down to Ron Hornaday.
How about our numbers up front?
That is incredible. Almost 25% of the wins in the history of this series are represented by the 3 guys running first, second, third right now.
Is it a coincidence? I don't think so.
Probably not.
No, it's not. Obviously, we can't count out Rick Crawford. Crawford running in the 4th spot right now. And as I mentioned earlier, he's been 3rd here twice, but he has 5 wins under his belt in the Camping World Truck Series.
And you can see the progress that Colin Brown is making, too. He's been able to catch Crawford. Hadn't been able to do anything with him, but he's gotten to that battle. We got our first truck on pit road, Matt Crafton. We talked about the fact that that truck was sliding back through the field. He's one of the first ones to pit road.
Adam Alexander.
Matt Crafton, a driver who was hoping for a caution about 40 laps ago. That because the truck is extremely tight. They will wipe off the grill, pull some tape, trying to help it there. They will also top it off with fuel. No tires planned here because that would kill them as far as track position is concerned. Of course, you cannot take fuel and tires in the same stop. Crafton away, his green flag service at lap 120.
Here comes Ron Hornaday. He slows down and goes over the commitment line to pit road.
Definitely don't want any mistakes now in this pit stop, a green flag pit stop.
He is your race leader, and we go back down to Adam Alexander.
And he has been very quiet on the radio today, as you would expect, because he's been so dominant. Although late in that run, he did say in traffic the truck got a little bit tight. It's going to be fuel only for Ron Hornaday. They would be good to go the distance on fuel, so if they had one more opportunity to pit, it would likely be tires only, Ray.
David Starr in on my end of pit road, and he was out of fuel. He had to shake the truck back and forth just to get it to pit road. Also see Johnny Sauter in the Fun Sand Chevrolet coming this way. They have filled up that 24, and he is back to the racetrack.
See, Mike Skinner, the 5 truck, has inherited the lead right now.
We'll be seeing him on pit road here shortly. Again, everyone is getting ready to go through green flag pit stops, and we're hearing that most will take fuel only. Adam.
At 122, Colin Brown gets the call. He has worked his way from as far back as 16th in the field up to the 5th position. You can see him working on the right front, pulling the fender out, topping it off with fuel. He's trying for his 3rd consecutive top 5 finish, Ray.
Skinner says he's got a lot of rear brake dialed into this truck. Doc Bailey's leather black on the sides of this truck. They got 1 can in. They'll go with the 2nd can. A good bit of fuel gets spilled down here on pit road. They got to make sure they get it all in here to go all the way the distance. They say yes, Skinner back to the racetrack. The 4 coming your way, and the 60, Adam.
And the 4 of Ricky Carmichael had already been in. He's coming back for tires this time. And also right in front of him, the 60 of Stacy Compton. He was very good yesterday in practice, been just okay today. They will top it off with fuel. His stop at lap 124, Ray.
Rick Crawford's truck still a little bit tight. They would love to make an adjustment on this truck if they could, but it'll be fuel for that circle bar truck. He's got the very first pit stall, and you've got to have an interesting angle to get into that pit stall when you come off of the racetrack. All the fuel in, Crawford leads his pits.
Watch your speed down
Todd
the hill.
Bodine scored as our race leader.
4,000.
He has a little over a 7-second lead over Eric Almirola. And we're seeing the 5 of Mike Skinner come back onto pit road, right?
Well, like you guys said, you never know what the strategies are going to be with these new rules. Skinner going to get 4 tires on this number 5 truck. Eric Phillips believes that the drop off on these tires is going to make the difference. They're going to put 4 on, a little bit of a hang up on the front. They'll come around, see 4 tires on it, and Skinner will go back to the racetrack. So far, he's the only guy to do fuel and tires on this round of pit stops.
Is this a gamble for Todd Bodine to stay on the racetrack right now? Oh, we've got a problem on the racetrack. Eric Almirola gets turned around.
No caution yet. He's sitting in the groove. There's the caution flag.
Caution comes out. It's the 3rd one of the day. And guess what? Only 10 trucks were on the lead lap.
And what a horrible break for Mike Skinner. They gambled. They came under green to get tires, and it's going to bite him, Michael.
Take another look at what just happened with the 15 of Eric Almirola.
Looked like he was going to make a pit stop, gets slowed down.
Dennis Setzer goes by in the 8. There's Rick Crawford in the 14. The 6 of Colin Brown is going to come along here on the outside.
Oh, I bet you, yeah, might have grabbed 3rd gear there, Phil. You thinking?
Might have, yeah.
Will hopped it a little bit. The thing just spun around, either like he put it in 3rd gear and it upset the truck, or he had a lot. I don't think that much rear brake would have turned him around that fast.
I wouldn't think so, but unfortunately, nobody made any contact.
Now, Skinner, like you said, this is a blow, but I don't think it's a blow that he can't overcome.
Unfortunately, he may be 2 laps down right now, and we've got so many trucks that are 1 lap down.
Well, amazingly enough, again, Ron Hornaday was leading. He was on when we started our green flag pit stops, and it looks as though he stays on the lead lap.
Yeah.
Our lucky dog is going to go to Mikey Kyle in that number 29. So that will put 9 trucks on the lead lap when we get ready for the green flag. That'll get us back underway again.
I thought Skinner had remained 1 lap down, but he is on the tail end, or right there 2 laps down. That's going to be tough to overcome. If he had to remain 1 lap down, he could have stayed on the track with his fresh tires and got that right back. But now that he's 2 down, ooh, that's trouble for that team.
Yeah, he's going to have to get one of those back on his own and then hope for a lucky dog.
And he'll be in a position to do that with those new tires. Everybody in front of him will most likely pit. He'll restart right up near the front. So he could work this out, but man, tough.
Pit road is actually closed, and we're seeing Jason White, I think, make his way onto pit road. So he'll obviously suffer a penalty. But as pit road is closed, we ride along with Todd Bodine, who is our race leader. He has yet to come onto pit road. Is there a chance that he may run out of fuel?
Well, I know he wants to get to pit road here in this next lap. I'm sure it'll be open.
See what he's doing
Shutting
there?
off the truck and gliding around. Well, race fans, you can vote for your favorite Copart driver in the Copart Challenge of Champions. Choose between the 33 of Ron Hornaday or the number 30 of Todd Bodine to win a variety of prizes, including an all expenses paid VIP race experience in Talladega this October. Go to Copart.com for official rules and to register. Vote now for the Copart Challenge of Champions.
You were worried about whether Todd had enough gas or not?
He's worried about it too.
Todd's worried worse than you are. He's shutting his motor off, coasting, doing everything he can to make sure he can get to pit road with enough gas. We saw trucks limping to pit road during this round of green flag stops, so certainly Todd's about out.
And the green flag comes out for pit road, meaning it is now open, so Todd Bodine can, if he makes it there, can make his way onto pit road and to his pit stall.
Now, when he'll most likely make 2 pit stops, Phil, gas and then tires. Yes. Whereas some of the lead lap trucks will only have to make 1, so he's going to give up some track position anyway.
Ray Dunlap.
Randy Dean, the crew chief for Dennis Setzer, is going to try to make some air pressure adjustments to help him roll through the center. That's really what we're hearing all the way up and down pit road. And Brian Scott will bring his Albertsons truck down in front of me. Crew chief Jeff Hensley said we'll make a track bar adjustment to help you in the center, and we're going to make an air pressure adjustment to help you off just a little bit. You see that track bar adjustment happen, and fuel going in the 16. Adam?
The original plan for the 30, top of your screen, was get fuel the first time around because Michael and Phil talked about the fact they were close on fuel. They said they're good enough to make it 1 more lap, so on this first stop, he will take tires, make an adjustment, and then come back around to top it off with fuel. It is going to be close.
He wins the race off of pit road. Again, only 9 trucks on the lead lap because of the spin during the green flag pit stops. We'll be right back.
Introducing the NASCAR Hall of Fame Commemorative Brick Program. To reserve your place in NASCAR history, visit us online at NASCARHall.com/brick.
Welcome back. Fans enjoying a great race here. The Copart 200 presented on Speed by Toyota. A gorgeous day.
Wow, what a beautiful day.
I know that wasn't the intention, but they're going to have a great doubleheader today. Obviously, we were supposed to run this race last night and the Nationwide Series takeover tonight, but a lot of racing, 450 miles here at the Milwaukee Mile.
Badgers fans there, University of Wisconsin.
You see back in the back, that little lake that's back there, well, that's not supposed to be there. That's because of the rain we had here. That's Lake O'Donnell back in turns 3 and 4. It could be Lake Trado. I threw out Lake O'Donnell, but we could go with any name that you'd like.
Maybe email us or something with a name and we'll plug it in.
We'll take it.
Be ready.
Pace truck makes his way off of the racing surface. Colin Brown in front of Rick Crawford. Your race leader is Ron Hornaday.
As you mentioned, 9 trucks on the lead lap right now. Actually, we have more than that because some of these trucks are on the tail end of the lead lap. Colin Brown and Rick Crawford in the 14.
They stayed out on the racetrack and are starting in front of the lead lap trucks. So again, Ron Hornaday is winning this race. Todd Bodine running second. Dennis Setzer third. Taylor Malsum is fourth. Terry Cook James Busher, Brian Scott, Ryan Sieg, Mikey Kyle.
Great run for Ryan Sieg and Mikey Kyle. Both those trucks on the lead lap. Those kids are just getting it done, Phil. Stumbling in this deal and showing right away they get it. They understand how to run up front. That's cool to see.
Yeah, Ryan Sieg is going to run this race, and then he's going to run Kentucky in a few weeks, and he'll be approved then to run the miles and the mile and a halves, and they're going to try to remain under 7 races, so it will retain his rookie eligibility for next year. But Mike Garvey, a very accomplished race car driver, is running that operation for Ryan Sieg, and he is doing a terrific job.
You can see Ron Hornaday there. He's got 5 trucks ahead of him. Ron is leading the race, but the truck of Skinner, who was 2 down, he's now 1 down. Crafton, our points leader, he's now on the tail end of the lead lap. So these guys in front of Hornaday desperately need to see a caution. They need to see a caution right now to get back in this game.
Johnny Sauter right behind the 33 of Ron Hornaday. Ron's going to go to the outside of Stacy Compton.
That will put him a lap down. So he would be the highest scored non-lead lap truck if a caution were to come back out. And that's the parameters for getting the Aaron's Lucky Dog.
And this is one of the situations here of why we went to a double file restart. Remember, they want to make sure that the leader of the race restarts up front. We had several trucks that were on the tail end of the lead lap starting in front of the leader, and that will be eliminated certainly right now in the Sprint Cup Series, and if we go to the double file restarts here in the Camping World Truck Series.
As it's straight up 2 o'clock, for those of you tuning in for World of Outlaws coverage from Dodge City, well, Mother Nature threw us a little bit of a curveball last night, so we hope you enjoy the Camping World Truck Series racing from here in Milwaukee. Be sure to go to speedtv.com to find the latest information on when that race will be rescheduled. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, we went through our regular round of double dips. The guys came down, got tires and fuel, but when that happened, Brian Scott had a lug nut that was not tight on the left rear, so he had to come back down pit road for a 3rd time, and that gave up some track position for the 16. Adam?
And earlier, the guys upstairs were talking about the fact that Mikey Kyle is enjoying a good run today, and you got to get a pat on the back to that race team for good strategy. They pitted early in this race at lap 40 and 41 like everyone else in the field did, but they topped off for fuel, not losing much track position to lap 55. That allowed them to stretch their fuel on that long green flag run, and it's that strategy and a nice job by the driver behind the wheel that's got them up in the top 10 today.
You know, there were a handful of trucks that did that same strategy at lap number 55. Terry Cook was one of them, Taylor Malsom, you mentioned Mikey Kyle and James Busher, and guess what? All those trucks find themselves on the lead lap right now.
And a guy that's going 2 down here. This is a big part of the big move here for Hornaday to put Skinner down. Skinner's been strong as of late. You can see him. He can't afford to lose that 2nd lap. He won't have a shot at the Lucky Dog. There's too many trucks that are 1 down, so he's racing as hard as he can right now to keep Hornaday behind him.
And he made that gamble of coming onto pit road twice under green flag conditions, and it really bit him when Eric Almirola spun around.
You could see how deep he drove that truck down to the corner. He's just desperate right now to stay 2 down or stay 1 down, but he's not going to do it. Hornaday clears him.
Ray Dunlap, what are you hearing out of the 25 team?
Tell you what, Rick, it has been an interesting day down here on pit road for these guys. On the first round of pit stops, they went up 4 rounds on the track bar and a couple of rounds of wedge. Second round of pit stops, 2 rubbers in the right rear, and this last round of pit stops up 5 rounds on the track bar. Terry Cook has been fighting a very, very tight racetrack truck today, and again, we want to remind everybody he's making his 300th start here in the Camping World Truck Series.
And Terry is a former winner here at this racetrack. He won here back in 2002. Driving for K Automotive.
You know, Terry Cook, you think about that. We talked about the numbers, 351 truck races. Terry Cook is making his 300th start. He is not the one who has the most starts in this series. The other gentleman is in this race as well, and that's Rick Crawford. He has over 306 starts.
And I think Cook's first start was here at Milwaukee and his 300th start too.
And he's done right now. This is his 282nd start in a row in the series.
Yeah, very impressive. Quite the man of steel. He was able to compete in all of those races in a row. And now we ride along with Todd Bodine as he's got Dennis Setzer all over his back bumper. And a caution comes out for debris. That, if I look at my scoring monitor here, will put Matt Crafton potentially.
I think Compton got around.
Did Compton get past him?
We got the 6 of Colin Brown, the 14 of Rick Crawford that are in front of Ron Hornaday. Yep. They will get their laps back and not even have to start at the tail end. of the lead lap.
We'll shake it out. We'll find out who will get the Aaron's Lucky Dog when we come back. Still out front, Ron Hornaday with a dominating performance. Celebration of the 25th anniversary of Richard Petty's 200th win. Daytona International Speedway has announced 2 great ways to celebrate the 4th of July weekend. Enter to win the 2009 King for a Day VIP sweepstakes hosted by, well, the King himself, as well as purchase specially priced $43 Daytona front stretch tickets. For more information on both Daytona promotions, you can visit speedtv.com or call 1-800-PIT-SHOP.
You can have a picnic with the King. That's cool. When he won his 200th race, we had a picnic in the garage area.
With Ronald Reagan, president at the time. Mr. President.
Me and you were there, right?
We were.
Aaron's lucky dog, they sorted it out, is Stacy Compton. He was just able to complete the pass on Matt Crafton, and Matt Crafton, I'm sure, is not happy about that pass.
That was huge. That was huge.
His truck has gone away on him. You know, he was pretty decent at the start of the race. Got tight, keeps getting tighter.
And we had our 4th caution. Debris coming on the racetrack at lap 142. Later on this evening, right here in the Milwaukee Mile, the Nationwide 250. That will be on ESPN. And then tomorrow, the Sprint Cup Series from Sonoma, Wine Country on TNT, 5 p.m. Big Father's Day weekend.
A lot of racing here this weekend. Great double dip here at Milwaukee.
Ray Dunlap.
Guys, when I came in the garage yesterday, Randy Dean, the crew chief for Dennis Setzer, said, you better keep an eye on that 8 truck this weekend. You know Setzer's good here, and we've got a really good truck. And he said right now he's got the very best set of tires that they've had all day on there for Setzer. And what he's hoping is that Bodine and Hornaday will race themselves for quite a while up there, and Setzer can hold back a little bit, keep those tires for a nice run at him right at the finish. Adam?
And Setzer, a driver with a great deal of experience here, and while James Busher is many laps behind him in that category, he does have a little bit of time behind the wheel at this facility. He's run an ARCA race here, Pro Cup, and he made his nationwide debut at this facility as well. So James Busher using that experience to a top 5 run today. We'll see if the Ray Bestis Rookie of the Year contender can finish it off.
James Busher parlayed some good strategy into a top 5 run. And the same thing with Taylor Malsom, guys. You know, we talked earlier how he's just been solid ever since he got an opportunity in that 81 truck. And again, he finds a way to be in the top 10, running 7th right now.
Closing in on the final 50 laps of this race. Again, only 12 trucks are on the lead lap. Aaron's lucky dog going to Stacy Compton, making him the 12th truck to be added to this. We had green flag pit stops, and then we had a truck spin, and that trapped just 10 trucks on the lead lap. Green flag comes back out in the air. Ron Hornaday in front of Todd Bodine. Those two in the Copart Challenge of Champions.
We have some good trucks right now that are back a ways. Remember how good Colin Brown was in that 6 truck. He and Rick Crawford, both top 5 runners early, just got their lap back. They earned it back, so they're in this hunt now up in the top 10.
Awful late in the race, though, Phil. They only got just over 50 laps in order to be able to come from the back to the front. I don't think that's enough time. Colin worked his way to the front from his starting position, but he had more time. I think he's going to be in trouble.
Trying to get by the 81 of Taylor Malsom. Taylor's going to use the 4 of Ricky Carmichael for a pick. There's Rick Crawford on the outside in the 14 truck. Timothy Peters. Timothy's 1 lap down the 17 truck. He's running in the 17th position.
You see how hard it is to make moves and pass guys. Everybody's so competitive. There's so many good trucks. You can't just go driving up through them. He's got his work cut out for him. Not only getting around the 7 guys that are ahead of him, but then there's 6 or 7 lap trucks up there too that he's got to deal with.
And that's another thing, that the double file restart, if they come in with all the lead lap trucks and cars up front, that would do away with that.
I like that. I think that's a great idea. Whoa, somebody's out of whack.
That was Ryan Sieg, one of the lead lap trucks, way high. This is his 2nd start ever in the Camping World Truck Series. He thinks he may have a flat tire. He certainly has a lot of debris on his tires right now at any rate.
Looks like it's working okay. He got down in the corner. Might have just been trying to shake some of that debris off so that he makes sure he can get some grip when he got down to turn 3.
2nd career Camping World Truck Series appearance.
Remember, still on the lead lap right now, being shown in the 12th spot.
Battle for the 3rd position between Setzer and Brian Scott.
What about a yeoman effort for Brian Scott, playing
really
hurt here with a broken wrist.
Really impressive. Brian Scott breaking his wrist in the last race, so they've got a cast on it on his right wrist. And right now he is soldiering on in the 4th spot, just behind Dennis Setzer.
I bet he doesn't feel. I bet that wrist is fine right now. You know, he's got a solid run. So you can see that he's got it up on the wheel, Phil, but he's not. You don't see a lot of work from that right hand. And when he gets to the corner, I think he's predominantly driving with his left hand, just steadying things up with his right. No grip in the pinky there. He just sort of got it laid up on the wheel.
Eric Almirola in the 15, not on the lead lap. And he brought out the caution on lap 126 that trapped quite a few trucks a lap down.
Got a little loose there getting in the corner in that 16 truck. It's given Almirola the opening he needed to look inside. Couldn't pull it off, though.
Eric had a really good truck and unfortunately spun and stalled. And that brought off the caution while we were in the midst of green flag pit stop. So he finds himself a couple laps down right now in the 21st spot.
Back inside, rear
quarter. A little bit higher now, and Eric Almirola is going to beat to the inside. Again, not a race for position as far as on the scoring monitor, but a race for position on the racetrack.
With that truck behind him, that blue truck of number 10, James Busher, is a battle for position. Right now, James being shown in the 5th spot.
James had a big crash last week with Brian Scott, resulting in Scott's wrist getting broken, and both those trucks finishing well down at the bottom of the field. That was a huge hit for those two, Phil.
Sure was. James got a little bit loose on the bottom side of another truck. Wasn't even Brian's truck, I don't think he got loose under, but ended up getting sideways and then taking Brian out. Both trucks hard into the outside wall.
Yeah, and when we watched it on television, it didn't look like that. I mean, we've seen some major hits, and Brian Scott's, it didn't look like it was that big.
Just going so darn fast at Michigan.
Yeah, and that's what he said. He said, you know, it didn't look big on TV, but he said that's the hardest hit I've ever had.
Yeah, we actually eavesdropped on his radio conversation, and he said how hard a hit that was.
Ron Hornaday, a hit here at the racetrack today as he is leading Todd Bodine, Dennis Setzer, Brian Scott, and James Busher. Hornaday has already led 134 times around this track. Welcome back. Copart 200 presented on speed by Toyota for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. It's our 10th race of the 2009 season. Hornaday has led 139 laps already in this race, scheduled for 200.
And the truck you see there out off Ron's tailgate, that's Mike Skinner. He's been able to keep pace with Ron Hornaday all day long. Finds himself 2 laps down back in 20th spot. That's got to be disappointing.
Probably going to be all for naught unless something happens to Hornaday, because I don't think he's got enough muscle to get up there and get by Ron to get one of those laps back and try to be in position for another lucky dog.
They took a chance. They took the chance with their pit strategy, wound up fighting them. He's got the 2nd best truck, running 20th.
Sometimes you have to take chances, though, and you know, that could have worked out for him. But unfortunately, the timing was just atrocious for the caution coming out right after the pit stop. I'm not sure that Skinner was actually even off pit road yet when the caution flag came out.
Just think about what they did at Kansas. They were able to take a chance on pit road, parlay that into a victory. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
I felt that way last night. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. We did get the race in, but we have a beautiful day for the race today.
That's right.
It's just lovely.
Just don't bust it.
Hornaday has led, as I mentioned, over 140 laps now. 142. Only 4 times has the person that has led the most laps not gone on to win at this racetrack, including 2 of the last 3 races.
Well, think about this stat. In 3 of the last 4 races here in Milwaukee, the guy that's won the race passed Ron Hornaday to win it. Now, we're set up to have that happen again. You know, Ron probably remembers those passes.
Yeah, I'm sure Ron's thinking right now, okay, Todd Bodine, who's running 2nd, is not going by me. I'm not going to allow, because there's a side bet, more or less, between those two, both driving Copart sponsored vehicles.
What a great battle we have right here, though. This is for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Terry Cook, the 25 truck, has 7th. There's Taylor Malsom, and here comes Rick Crawford. Remember, Rick got his lap back on the last caution flag. He fought his way back to the 9th spot. Colin Brown, the other truck that earned his lap back, is all the way up to the 5th position.
These guys are certainly having a great battle. It's taken place about 10 seconds behind our leader, though.
And I know Terry Cook would desperately like to get by this 88 of Matt Crafton.
He might be able to shake these guys if he can get by Crafton.
Now remember, Matt Crafton is a lap down. So we've got Terry Cook, Taylor Malsom, and Rick Crawford all on the lead lap running together, as well as Stacy Compton in that 60.
Crafton came into this race as our point leader. He slipped to 2nd, having his truck just isn't handling right, Phil. It's tight in the corners, it won't turn.
And right now he's totally frustrating Terry Cook by hanging in there racing Terry Cook. Ron Hornaday is one of the only 2 drivers ever to win a Truck Series race on his birthday. Dave Resendez was the other one, and Ron's trying to do it twice.
What a birthday present that would be. Get another victory on your 51st birthday.
Rick Crawford able to get by the 81 of Taylor Malsom. That moves Rick up a spot into the 8th position.
Guess whose birthday's tomorrow?
I think it's the guy sitting right to my right, Mr. Parsons. He'll turn a day older tomorrow.
Maybe even a year older, actually.
You want to have me over or anything?
Nah.
Darn. Adam.
Just kidding.
Let's catch up.
Doesn't want me to come over. What's happening on pit road?
I've learned from experience, Phil does not like to celebrate birthdays. I learned that the hard way a couple of years ago. Anyhow, the man up front looking to celebrate, as Phil pointed out, Ron Hornaday has been quiet on the radio. A very good indication for he and his team. They just hope that it stays green the final 33 laps. Right behind him, Todd Bodine, very vocal on the radio. He's been tight all day. They continue that situation in the latter stages of this race. And barring something crazy, Todd Bodine doesn't have anything for the man who's out front, Ray.
And I'll tell you, Adam, I got to really feel bad for Mike Skinner today. Those guys have had a truck that's been able to run right up there with Hornaday all day long. He's been behind Hornaday most of this race, but because of that round of pit stops, Skinner got caught on pit road, lost a couple laps, and guys, I can't see scoring monitor, but I think he's back about 20th right now, but he has a truck that's good enough to be 2nd right now in this race.
Well, race fans, again, vote for your favorite Copart driver in the Copart Challenge of Champions. Choose between the 33 who's leading this race right now, or the number 30 of Todd Bodine running 2nd in this race. You can win a variety of prizes, including that all-expenses-paid VIP race experience in Talladega this October. Just go to Copart.com for official rules and to register. Vote now for the Copart Challenge of Champions. 2 champions battling at the front of this field. Who's going to come home the victor? Stay with us. We'll find out. Let's take a look at today's Stay in the Game with Just for Men hair color moment. It actually has to be a little bit more than a moment. How about Brian Scott with a broken right wrist, getting fitted with a new gear shift as well as a steering wheel, but he's out here running, obviously in pain, but running well. A top 5 performance, running 4th right now on the racetrack.
And we've seen so many cases of that over the years, Mikey, with people, getting hurt on the week before and then coming back and racing the next week. Remember Ricky Rudd when he turned over in the at Daytona in the Bud Shootout, went to Richmond the next and won the next week. They had to tape his eyes open.
Yeah, they had to put tape on his cheeks to keep his eyes from where he could see where he was going.
Well, remember in this series, Atlanta, that accident with Rick Crawford where he damaged his ankle, but
broke his ankle.
Yeah, the very next week he's out there racing
and won at Martinsville.
Yeah, I mean it's a testament to the toughness that these drivers bring to this series.
The tenacity.
This is a stay in the game moment for this guy. Got his first win a couple weeks ago.
Nice and smooth, buddy. Don't piss your tires off. We'll get them.
Yeah.
45.
Win,
Good lap,
crash,
bud.
break your wrist. Now he's back in the top 5.
He was talking yesterday down in the media center about not having any luck since they've got that win at Dover, but
stay calm, bud. Plenty of time. You'll get
got
there.
about 24 laps here, and if he can stay where he is, I'm sure he'll count this one as some good luck.
12 truck still on the lead lap. Ryan Sieg being scored 12th. David Starr is the first truck a lap down in 13th that would receive the Aaron's Lucky Dog. And the difference between first and second right now, Ron Hornaday has over 6 seconds between himself and Todd Bodine running in the second spot.
Man, my heart just hurts for Skinner, though. He's sitting there looking at the guy just 5 or 6 truck lengths ahead is the guy that's dominating the race, and Mike's just sitting there keeping pace with Hornaday. He just needs to get up there and get around him. He can't quite make that move. You see Todd's got a clear track in front of him. Look who's easing in on the back of him, though, Phil.
Dennis Setzer. That's amazing. I talked to Dennis in the garage area before the race. I said, how's your truck? He said, we're not very good. I said, you make some changes? He said, yeah, we made quite a few, but he said it really wasn't very good in practice. And here he is battling for second.
Well, and you heard the strategy that they were going to put to use on this last run. They were going to let Hornaday and Bodine battle it out up there, save their tires for the end of the run. Well, there wasn't really a battle up there.
Well, they forgot to tell Hornaday.
Yeah, Hornaday just pulled away, has put 6 seconds between himself and second. How about the battle here between Circle Bar Racing teammates?
They have a little bit of history coming to the checkered flag at Charlotte, running over top of each other.
Rick's got a great truck right now. Ooh, slid up. Ooh, slid way up the hill.
Very close.
Barely avoided James in that 10 truck.
He had a lot of speed in the center of that corner. He just couldn't hold it down. Battling for the 6th spot.
Max Force International. Todd Bodine trying to stay in front of that 8 of Dennis Setzer, but a good battle now for second.
Dennis just wears you down, doesn't he? He knows how to take care of a truck early in the run, like we heard his crew chief talking down on pit road. And the further they go, the better he gets. Going to make the move inside of Todd Bodine.
Looking to the inside as we have just 20 laps of racing to go.
You know, Michael, I was talking to some of the guys in the garage area, and they said that these tires, it's a little bit different tire than they had last year, and it seemed like it doesn't quite recover. If you spin a tire or maybe get on that right front a little bit too hard, driving the corner too hard, they don't recover quite as quickly as the ones did last year. And it looks like right now, Dennis Setzer has not hurt his tires at all.
Well, you can certainly damage a tire, and you know, then you have to calm down for 2 or 3 laps and maybe get some heat out of that tire, but you can certainly hurt yourself. And Dennis is just being patient right now with Todd, making sure he doesn't jeopardize the tires on that truck so he can make this move. He's going to look on the outside, Phil.
For more on the 8 of Dennis Setzer, let's go back down to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, a lot of the drivers that are in this race today have the same truck that they ran at Martinsville. Many people consider this a short track, but the truck that Setzer has, he actually ran at Charlotte, and this truck has a good bit of downforce in it. And Randy Dean said, like I told you before this race started, he thought they had a shot at the win for sure. But how about these numbers for Setzer? 18 wins in this series and 21 second place runs. Setzer having a good run with Todd Bodine, looking for 22. Here he goes on the side of the Copart. There he goes. Does he get the position? Setzer takes second place.
How about Randy Dean, his biggest cheerleader, jumping up on the pit box as he was going by, cheering him on as Dennis Setzer takes second away. And how many times have we seen Dennis Setzer get second in the championship run? I mean, 3 years in a row, Dennis Setzer was the runner-up in this series.
Lost 1 year by, what, 7 or 8 points or something like that?
It was so close.
Look at Brian Scott has joined that battle as well. Brian coming on here strong late.
Run your line, bud. You'll get by him.
Jeff Hensley giving him a little advice, crew chief, for Brian Scott. When Jeff came aboard, I think things really turned around for this team. Brian really, I think, had more confidence. Little contact there.
Excuse me.
Oh, by the way, I'm back here.
Todd dealt with Setzer, and I'll be darned as soon as Setzer didn't clear him, he had to look in the mirror and get a big old mirror full of Brian Scott.
Oh, Brian cheating up the racetrack there. Almost getting into the back of that 30.
No, he's running out of time. Only 15 laps remaining.
Brian Scott looking for a top 3 finish today. Again, Hornaday has a 7-second lead over Setzer. Setzer running second. This is the battle for third now. Todd Bodine and Brian Scott.
Trying to coach Brian into running his line. Those 2 trucks are running extremely different lines. Look at the speed Brian has in the center of the corner. Runs all up over Todd.
Really has to pay for it there off the corner. He gets that run through the center, then he's not quite on the throttles hard up off the corner, and that's when Todd squirts ahead by a truck length or 2.
Might try to keep that thing wound up on the high side. He's so much faster than Todd, but he can't find a hole on the ball. He's going to hit him.
There was the contact. It was so close before. Bodine shoves up the racetrack. Here comes Brian Scott to the inside.
He might get hit back for that.
Clear.
A lot of times there's a payback on such situations like that.
But he's so fast in the center of the corner, I don't think Todd could hit him if he wanted to. Look at that truck go. He's got a great truck right now.
All by yourself. Move.
Brian Scott takes the position away from Todd Bodine.
And that's literal right here. There's the contact into the back of that Copart Toyota. And then Brian just turns that thing left. Todd's still trying to corral that truck right there. Here's the contact right here from his onboard. This is a Toyota onboard. There's the contact with Todd. Todd's still a little bit loose, has to chase it up the hill. Opens up the bottom of the racetrack for Brian. Caution flag is out for Chad McCumbee.
McCumbee gets into the wall, so it brings out our 5th caution of the day, and we're closing in on the final 10 laps of this race.
What about Dennis Setzer right now? We heard him say he's going to save his truck for a while. Now he's going to be right on Ron Hornaday's bumper.
And we saw how good Brian Scott's truck is right now. He's 3rd right on Dennis Setzer's bumper.
And we also found out that Brian will knock you out of the way.
He will use that front bumper on that Toyota, but he only has 1.5 hands, so he's going to have an excuse.
That's a great reason to run into people, Phil. I like where you're going with that. He's taking advantage of it too, isn't he?
For that 0-7, let's take another look. You see the smoke already.
Yeah, like the motor might have went away.
Yeah. Does a nice job of keeping that truck out of the outside wall.
So that brings our 5th caution of the day, and that will mean that when we restart, we'll be inside of 10 laps. It's a single file restart. And that will put Dennis Setzer right on the back bumper.
This is going to be
Ron Hornaday.
Good stuff. I can't believe how fast that 16 truck was through the center of the turn. So this is going to be interesting to see how these guys battle out here over the last 10 laps.
Ron Hornaday has led the most laps ever at Milwaukee. Already 168 laps led. Our Aaron's lucky dog. It was a close call, but he finally got it. David Starr gets the lap back. That will mean 13 trucks on the lead lap when we come back for the green flag. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is presented to you by Toyota. For the latest Toyota racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. Brought to you in part by Touch of Gray from Just for Men and by Z-Max. Performance you can feel. I did like your performance earlier. How about the performance we're about to see for the Copart 200 presented on Speed by Toyota?
Ron Hornaday has probably one of the best guys at this racetrack behind him, and best guys on any short track, certainly in America, right behind him. Now, we know that Ron Hornaday's had the dominant truck. He's led 160 or 70 laps or something like that.
Yep.
But he's got Dennis Setzer, and it looked like Dennis Setzer's truck kept getting better and better, and right now he's right in his rear bumper.
Ray Dunlap.
Give you an update real quick. Rick Crawford came in to change some tires there. He said he had absolutely nothing left on his truck. He had a little front brake to this thing, so inside of 10 laps we'll get going again. The tires that he put on were 30 lap scuffs, so we'll see if that is any better for Crawford than what he had before we had this last caution.
So Rick Crawford coming in for not new tires, but different tires, fresher tires. It's Hornaday, Setzer, Brian Scott, Todd Bodine, Colin Brown, your top 5.
Oh, I'm loving this 10-lap sprint to the finish. They got 8 to go when they take the green, and this is intense. Dennis Setzer is going to be on Hornaday.
We know Hornaday is great at the restarts. He needs a great restart now if he wants to win once again at this racetrack. Both of the top 2 have been to victory lane before. Green flag in the air.
You know, so much of this sport is give and take. This is the time of the race when you do a lot of taking.
Well, we saw Brian Scott take 3rd away from Todd Bodine. Now Brian Scott closing in on the back bumper of that 8.
No pressure from behind, bud.
Great start again for Ron Hornaday.
You know, we saw Brian Scott's shifter was really long because he can't hardly shift gears with that right hand. He passed a test right there, Phil. Got a great start right on the back of Setzer.
How about this? 2 and 3 wide at the Milwaukee Mile. David Starr, again, got his lap back. He's on the lead lap, trying to get by Brian Eichler. Brian Eichler is actually a lap down. David Starr running 13th. Out in front of this field, though, there's the difference between first and second. Ron Hornaday has been so strong, has been dominant today.
Colin Brown pulls up on the back bumper of the 30 of Todd Bodine. Colin looks like he's got a pretty good truck right now. Moves to the inside.
This is a battle for the fourth spot. Colin Brown to the inside of Todd Bodine, trying to take fourth away. 6 laps of racing remain. Hornaday, Dennis Setzer, Brian Scott, Todd Bodine, and Colin Brown. Those two still deciding who's going to be fourth.
Todd's probably thinking, you people better quit running into me. He got hit by Colin Brown down in turn 1 and 2.
Todd drives it in hard on the outside, but Colin is back to the throttle earlier in the center.
Out of turn 4, Hornaday. Just 5 laps to go. 5 miles remaining here at the Milwaukee Mile.
Great battle here for the 4th spot.
Really close call. Colin Brown up toward the wall. He gets slowed way down.
I think he got loose on the inside of Todd, Phil.
And had to chase it up the hill. Unfortunately, Todd was able to avoid him. Mikey Kyle gets by him, the 29. That is a battle for position on the lead lap.
Take another look. This is what just happened with Colin Brown. As you mentioned, chasing it up.
Yeah, got loose. Did a nice save right there. Could have taken him and Todd out.
Looked a whole lot like what happened to Jason White earlier in the race. Got down in the corner, had too much speed, lost the truck. Fortunately for Colin, he was able to hang on. He settles in the 10th spot. He was racing for 4th. Now he's running 10th.
Less than 4 laps. Coming up on 3 laps. The final 3 miles of this race. Hornaday with a 12 truck length lead over Dennis Setzer running second. Then it's Brian Scott, Todd Bodine, James Busher is running in the top 5 now.
Bring her on home,
Taylor Moss from 6th. He just always winds up near the top 10 in the top 10, top 5.
What a great rookie battle we have. Taylor Malsom, James Busher running 5th and 6th right now. Busher has 5th.
How about Mikey Kyle running 8th right now on the racetrack in just his 2nd start. Here's Malsom.
James Busher right there, right behind the 30 of Todd Bodine.
Stacy Compton trying to get 6th away from Malsom. He's got a better truck, it looks like right now.
The final 2 laps of racing, 2 miles here at the Milwaukee Mile.
David Starr trying to get by. Ooh, Mikey Kyle got a little bit loose there right in front of the 24 and the 25. David Starr and Terry Cook. David Starr is going to be able to get by the 29.
David Starr looking to move up past Mikey Kyle and take that 9th spot away for a top 10 finish. So right along with Terry Cook. The final lap. Ron Hornaday has taken the white flag. Dennis Setzer still 12 truck lengths back. Brian Scott trying a last-ditch effort to get 2nd away. Ron Hornaday looking for his 41st win in the Camping World Truck Series, a continuing record. As he comes out of turn number 4, Hornaday will be a repeat winner at the Milwaukee Mile.
Every now and then the fastest truck wins.
This is certainly a case of that.
Case today, the guy that had the dominant truck was able to bring it home.
Stacy Compton was able to get by Taylor Malsom for the 6th spot. Colin Brown
coming
fought
outside.
back to
Great
8th.
job, Hornaday.
David Starr, Terry Cook round out the top 10.
How about Ron Hornaday winning again on his birthday? Only 2 had done it previously. He was one of them, and he did it once again.
And what a dominating performance. How many laps did he lead, Rick?
180 laps led for Ron Hornaday of the 200.
Well, he can lead some more today because he's going to run the nationwide race later on in Kevin Harvick's car.
What an impressive performance. Hornaday scored his last of 4 nationwide series victories. Well, at Milwaukee right here at this racetrack back in 2004. Could he make it a double header 2 times to victory lane? It's possible. Kyle Busch is the only driver to win 2 NASCAR National Touring Series races on the same day. He did it in California earlier this year. Let's go down to Adam Alexander.
And this truck yesterday, Rick, ran not where Ron wanted it in the first practice. I know you worked on it awfully hard, and it paid off.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we struggled here really bad last year, so we brought a total different package, and we struggled pretty bad, like you mentioned yesterday in first practice. And I got to give credit to my guys. They don't give up, you know, and we made a bunch of changes for second practice, Then we made 3 major changes after practice last night, and I guess we guessed the right way. But, this is Hornaday's birthday today, so happy birthday to Ron Hornaday.
You pitted under green, and then the caution came out. How concerned were you that was going to trap you and ruin your day?
I don't expect it any other way. It happens to us almost every time we pit. But, the Copart guys, we never gave up today. Sometimes when the caution comes out right after green, we only took fuel. It actually fell kind of in our favor because we were with 1 lap of our fuel window. So it just worked out today. I can't believe it worked out because usually it doesn't.
Similar situation at Lowe's last month. Ron Hornaday won there, and he's back in victory lane today.
Hornaday's second win of the 2009 season. His last win at Lowe's. The last time qualifying was actually canceled in the Camping World Truck Series. Maybe it works better when qualifying's canceled for the Camping World Truck Series. It's getting to be old hat for Ron Hornaday. His celebrations in victory lane. Let's go down there. Adam Alexander's with him.
And we talked about the fact that this truck was not where he wanted it to be yesterday. No problems today. As he turns number 51, he's able to get career win number 41. Hornaday in victory lane at Milwaukee. It appeared that was very easy. Was the truck as dominant as it looked on the racetrack, Ron?
First of all, this is for Marie, Liddy's mom, Grandma. Love you, babe. Yeah, Rick Ree and the guys did an awesome job. Got to thank Copart for coming aboard and just following Johnny Benson around here a lot of laps. I've learned a lot, and every time I overdrove it, the thing just it was terrible. So kept dialing rear brake in, and I got to thank Kevin Delaney, everybody. I mean, this Copart Chevrolet was awesome today, and I got to thank Ream VFW, Longhorn. It just takes everybody, and this is what it takes. We're taking this truck next week, and I got to back a Bodine again, and it might have created my grill in, but cool day. I mean, what other way? Got one more race to go, so I'll keep carrying your car, boss. I'll be all right.
You were cruising, pulling away, and congratulations from the teammate. And then a late caution, a restart with Setzer of all people behind you. How concerned were you in that situation?
I didn't know what he was saving and all that, and that last set of tires were really tight, and I just started dialing more rear braking and see if I can slide it in there. But we were still about 3/4. I mean, we had a little bit left if he got up there, but I didn't know what line he was running, all that stuff. Rick Crowley done a great job. All these guys, I mean, we are terrible yesterday, and I think everybody else was complaining about the same thing. And we made some extreme changes, what we never do, and it paid off. I mean, this is what it takes. And I got to thank Ernie Cope and all them guys over there at the Nationwide deal. They helped me out a little bit by driving that thing this morning.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Hornaday in victory lane, and the man who was chasing him with Ray Dunlap.
Well, for the 22nd time in his career, Dennis Setzer gets a second-place finish, but that's got to be about like a win for you guys today. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Dave Malkerson, all these guys give us a big opportunity right here. Randy Dean made some great calls, got us in position there. We started 21st because it rained out qualifying today, and these guys just kept making some adjustments for me during the day. Kept making a little better right there, a little bit this way, a little bit that way. Got some great fuel mileage on this Chevrolet, though, and they all just done a great job.
And just like Hornaday, Setzer will take this same truck next week to Memphis.
How about we look at our point standings? Ron Hornaday unseats Matt Crafton at the top of the charts. Now has a 36-point lead over Crafton. So Hornaday back in the driver's seat for another championship.
Yeah, how about we got 89 drivers right now separated, or 89 points separating the top 4 drivers right now.
A couple big moves for Brian Scott and Setzer up into the top 10. They weren't there last week.
Reminder, folks, go to Copart.com to vote for, your champion. Is it Ron Hornaday or is it Todd Bodine? Today, it was Ron Hornaday, 195 points to Todd Bodine's 165 points. Again, it's a 6-race battle as we go toward Talladega. Our unofficial results, Ron Hornaday grabbing his 41st career win in the Camping World Truck Series.
Great runs by Dennis Setzer, Brian Scott, top 9. James Bush, a career best. First top 5 finish for him.
Brian Eichler started up front, couldn't stay there, fell back and finished 15th. Point leader coming in, Matt Crafton, 16th. Disappointing day for that team.
First time he's been worse than 11th all season long.
A gorgeous day today in Milwaukee. Yesterday, it wasn't so good when we were scheduled to run this race last evening. But the rain stopped, the skies Well, cleared off, and what a great day we had for racing. We hope to have the same thing next week when we go to Memphis for the Memphis 200 at Memphis Motorsports Park. Another great racetrack.
It certainly is, and Ron Hornaday taking the same truck. We know he's going to be strong. Mike Skinner's going to battle back from that bad luck he had here, getting 2 laps down with a green flag pit stop.
Ron Hornaday today started in the 3rd spot because of owner points. He didn't have any problems, as a few drivers did early on. Hornaday with the dominant performance, leading 180 laps en route to his 2nd win at the Milwaukee Mile and his 41st career win.
The closest points race in NASCAR rolls into Memphis next week. We've already seen 2 first-time winners this season. Will we see another? Don't miss any of the nighttime short track action from Memphis, starting at 5:30, live on Speed. Be there.